Hi, this is Paul Acevedo from Mobile Nations coming at you from San Francisco.
Hi, I'm Chris Olson. I'm Senior Vice President at Sega Networks Inc.
Hi, I'm Mike Evans. I'm the Senior Director of Digital Marketing.
Chris, can you tell me a little about your history at Sega?
Sure, it's been a long and storied history. I started with the launch of the Dreamcast back in 1999, believe it or not. And then I was working for the website, worked at Sega.com, helped launch the ISP to support the Dreamcast. Eventually led up to running the website for Sega as a Western company entity. And then I left for a little while, did some startup-y things, and came back recently to help ramp up the digital side of the business.
I've been at Sega now for 7.5 years, so 7.5 years of fun at Sega. It's been a great time. I originally started on the online marketing side before progressing to running the digital business in Europe, looking after XBLA and PSN, working on a lot of the early mobile titles as well. Back in 2008 when we took Super Monkey Ball to the App Store. Recently relocated to the States to come aboard and help Chris on the digital marketing side.
And where do you guys see Sega in today's video gaming marketplace, if you don't mind?
Well, I think Sega is wherever games are, so we're always trying to provide a quality experience no matter what platform. So certainly we're involved in the console side. The PC side is a big business for us. We're exclusively working on the mobile side, which obviously is a high growth area and I think very powerful opportunity to present games to a whole new audience.
Yeah, I think we can make the argument that Sega brings a lot of its more well-known brands to the mobile space and a little bit less on the console space. Do you guys have more freedom than the console side?
I don't know about freedom. I think we're always looking at new opportunities to bring our IP to either new platforms or platforms that are well established. And it's really just a decision. I mean, it's a business decision at the end of the day. But obviously, we want to represent our games well and please gamers. We want to basically provide an optimal experience for the platform.
I think it's a combination of what our consumers kind of like. We listen actively to what goes on within the community. We listen actively to the kind of games that people are saying they want. People talk a lot about some of the old brands or franchises which they'd love to see brought back, and that's what we try and do as well.
Well, if you don't mind me asking before we get into Crazy Taxi talk, what is the current status of Phantasy Star Online 2?
That is a game that exists in Japan. I know that much. It has done very well there. Certainly, we've been happy with the performance of it in Asian territories. I can't comment on anything outside of that.
What inspired you guys to bring Crazy Taxi to mobile again at this point in time?
Well, when we brought the port of the original over to smartphones and tablets, it was very well received, and that had the virtual joystick. And we were able to create a pretty compelling experience with that. We figured, why not bring something that's made from the ground up for those devices and bring that IP to a whole new audience, basically. So I think we've created something that appeals to both the fans of the series and people who may have heard of Crazy Taxi but maybe never played it before.
And how did you select the actual UK development team?
So we've got a couple of studios that we work with who focus just on mobile. The guys have done a fantastic job with Sonic Dash. This kind of naturally aligned to kind of their skill set.
Well, can you tell me about what changes you've made to the game in order to adapt it to mobile audiences?
Well, I think the first thing you'll notice is kind of the interface. It's a gesture-based interface. Obviously, you're swiping to move lanes. I think spiritually, it's very much the same game. It's got an attitude, it's got a wit about it. It's very stylized and very similar, almost to the original. So I think mostly it's the interface that has changed the most in terms of the control interface.
But it's still got a lot of spirit. We've been very careful to make sure that it stays in line with the original vision of what Crazy Taxi actually is. So Kamasan, the original developer as well, very, very closely with the team over in the UK who are making this, who worked on Sonic Dash as well, to make sure that it's still got all the elements, it's still got all the depth, it's still crazy, it's still fun, it's still arcade based. So
Can you give me some examples of the Crazy Taxi attitude that we can find in the new Crazy Taxi game?
Sure. So I think some of the missions are just kind of irreverent. So there's a mission where you're supposed to pick up a business guy and take him to the office, and then midway in the mission you decide, screw it, I want to just take off my clothes and go run in the park. So you kind of change midterm and drop him off to the park, and he goes skipping off, not nude, but not clothed in business attire.
The other one which we've added as well for this particular game is a tank mission. So quite often for Crazy Taxi, one of the fun things is you're speeding around the kind of different corners, you're colliding with a lot of the cars, and so what we thought was, why not put somebody into a tank and make it the mission to try and run over and hit as many obstacles as they can and kind of tally up a series of points off the back of that. So I think that's pretty out there.
That's cool, and I guess in the Crazy Taxi games you can't actually run over people, can you?
Nope, they jump out of the way just at the last minute.
Is there anything from the sequels, Crazy Taxi 2 and 3, that we would find in this new game?
Nothing from a gameplay mechanic. I think they experimented with some other ways of moving the car around. It's not to say we might not introduce them in the future, but I think it's pretty core. It's pretty true to the original game.
That's a key point. I mean, when this game goes out, we're going to be adding supporting content all the way through. So I'd say watch this space, keep playing the game, keep watching it, keep speaking to us, and who knows, you might see something in it.
And the original Crazy Taxi had some really good licensed punk music. Can you tell me anything about the music for this new one?
Sure. We are going to. We'll have a soundtrack. It's not going to be the original soundtrack, but you can expect the same kind of pop punk type, I guess, stylings or soundtrack. Additionally, you will be able to supply your own music soundtrack. So if you want to, you can feed your own iTunes playlist in there.
The social features are a big thing on mobile. Does this new game have any kind of social features worked in?
Absolutely. I think the mobile smartphones are very social type devices, and it makes a lot of sense to integrate it to whatever extent possible. I think you'll see some pretty unique features that we've added. The friend map is probably the primary one. So as you're driving around, as you're looking at the world map, you get these missions that are icons of your friends' Facebook profile, so you can pick them up and take them on missions.
So just imagine, we're driving along, I'm linked to Chris here on Facebook, and so one of the missions is going to be for me to pick him up. He needs a haircut, we're going to take him clearly, go to the barber's, he's going to get a fantastic haircut, drop him off, and I want some credits which I can use within the game.
How many different areas are we going to see in this game?
There's 4 different maps, which are fairly extensive in their size and scope. So that's for the launch, and then you'll work through missions to unlock each one of those. And then, as Mike said, we'll be updating with content, so you can expect to see more content out there.
The game has a pretty much an open world feel in that kind of sense, and as you progress through the different worlds and different missions, you'll go back to some of the early missions sometimes as well, and you'll find different routes through. So it's kind of very kind of vast expanse in that kind of sense.
And the original games had kind of a focus on performing moves like drifts and such. Will we see anything like that in this game?
Absolutely. There's definitely crazy drifts. There's near misses, so you can dart in and out in between traffic and to rack up points and get bonuses. So everything that you would expect from the original is definitely in there.
We've also introduced, you've got U-turns as well, and there's a mechanic for a user to, when you reach the area where you're trying to stop, your goal in essence, there's a mechanic there for you to do basically a kind of fast stop, and the faster you stop again, the more you get rewarded. So there's some definite kind of things that the dev team thought about how we kind of really try to add our plus ones and how we try to make the most of this IP on mobile.
And will this be a paid or free-to-play game?
It will be free to play.
So what kind of monetization aspects are there?
Well, it's the dual currency system, so there's a soft currency that you earn throughout the course of the game, as well as a hard currency called diamonds, which you can also earn in the game. You earn those by leveling up or performing special moves within the missions.
Is there anything that requires diamonds specifically and not the soft currency?
There will be power or upgrades for your car and cosmetics that will be available with diamonds only. But again, you can earn those through the course of gameplay.
And what can you tell me about the car upgrades?
The upgrades, there's basically 2 different passes. The cosmetic, where you can kind of trick out your car in different paint schemes. You can add an alien to your alien UFO to your hood, bullhorns, all sorts of stuff that basically kind of makes the ride your own, customize it. And then there's upgrades that increase the performance of the car. So you can upgrade your tires, you can upgrade your exhaust system. your I guess
Your engine,
your engine, and then I guess the struts basically that makes it more structurally secure. A lot of upgrade opportunities, both from a cosmetic and a functional standpoint.
And Sega has a uniquely rich history. Will there be any Sega-specific cosmetic upgrades for the cars?
I would say wait and see. I would be surprised if there weren't.
When can we expect Crazy Taxi City Rush to launch on mobile?
Well, we'll be soft launching in the middle of March, so look out for it then in the specific territories, with the wider launch soon thereafter. So sometime in the spring to early summer.
We basically want to make sure that when we go into soft launch, everything is perfect, that the quality is exactly as it should be. So over a period of time, we're going to kind of tweak that until we get into a place where we're absolutely happy with it. When we're happy with it, then we'll go to launch.
Great, thank you both very much.
No problem. Thank you.